Hello, fellow plantitos and plantitas. It is exactly the night before the first day of the Horti Filipina 2026, and I got really busy, so I had to make this video really quick. A few days ago, I actually started making videos about the plants that have survived. I'm going to show you each and every one of them, at least the ones who are still alive. And I hope that I will also be making a video like this a year later after Horti Filipina 2026. So let's see all the plants that survived. This is my philodendron hastatum, silver sword variegated, and as you can see, it hasn't grown so much. I think I could have done better. It's just that I didn't get to repot it as soon as possible, and I got really busy. But the moment that I repotted it and placed it in bright sunlight, I think it did very well in terms of variegation. It has really beautiful leaves, and I'm excited to see how this will look like when it grows much older and when it starts to produce that whole sword-like shape that the silver sword is known for. So philodendron hastatum variegated. One of the few variegated plants that I bought last year. One of the more expensive variegated plants that I bought. I bought it, and this was me taking a chance on variegated plants. And this is one of the other anthuriums that I actually bought, Anthurium veitchii, and I'm not very proud to say that this didn't do much growth. It kept suffering browning in the leaves. I think it's because of fungus, because there were like browning in the center, browning at the edges, and it used to be in an indoor setting where there wasn't a lot of airflow, so I think that affected it. And I wasn't using fungicide back then, so now I'm trying to do so. You can see like blue color in the leaves. So the newest leaf is doing better. I'm hoping I think if I will take care of this even better and probably do repot. Right now, this is sort of like a semi-hydroponic setup. Maybe this will grow even better, because I saw videos where if the veitchii is rooted very nicely, it can do very well in terms of growth. So I'm looking forward to improving that. Fortunately, not all plants that I bought from Ecogenera died. 2 out of 4, we have the pallidiflorums, both of them still very much alive. One is in a semi-hydroponic setup, and you caught it in a time where it's looking very good. Now, here's something interesting though. It produced sort of a variegated leaf, and this was the time when I placed it in very direct sunlight, so I don't know if that caused it to push out this variegation, or is it just a chimeral variegation? It's not going to continue. The next leaf though did not push out any variegation, so we'll see. I think it's still pretty early to say. I do hope it pushes, because look at this variegation. It's really pretty. I do hope we can have another leaf with sort of this kind of variegation. I would love to have a pallidiflorum that's variegated. The other one, from the past videos, if you saw, had broken leaves at first. But when I neglected it in the house, in the family house, I was able to produce a much longer leaf. This one's even longer than the other one. So it does well in a very humid environment. It can survive in a non-humid environment, but the leaves turn out very curled and dry and much more leathery. This one has a nicer feel to it. I really do hope to make these leaves longer as we continue to grow them. It's already growing another one here. And this is after the inflorescence. This has pushed inflorescence twice already. One died. This one, I think I will try to pollinate and hopefully make seeds out of it. And if you look here, still the same medium from last year. I think I need to repot this, but only after this leaf pops out. Then I will repot this in a much larger pot and probably a much better medium. But I think this medium is good. I'll just probably make it larger so that there's more room for the roots to grow. You can see here, the roots are starting to push out. So I don't want it to overgrow or get root bound in this pot. I wanted to give it a better pot. So Anthurium pallidiflorum, the 2 plants from Ecogenera out of the 4 survived. So unfortunately, all the echeverias passed away, but there was one that just before it rotted off, I was able to get parts of it and propagate it into new plants. So here they are. Not much growth. I pretty much neglected this, like watered it very few times. And I think I will have time in the future maybe to transfer these to a different medium. But right now, I'm not in a hurry to move it. But yeah, Echeveria SP survived out of all the other Echeverias. But it's not the only succulent that survived. There's another one that also survived. And the other succulent that survived is the Pachyphytum. It started off, it was already quite tall, but this time it really grew a lot. Like there's a lot of growth points here. You can see here. I think I should propagate this. I tried one. I took one of these leaves and I tried to propagate it, but I haven't seen roots yet. It's been a couple of weeks. But it hasn't rotted, so that's a good sign. I think, I'm really hoping that it will propagate because I kind of like this. I mean, it wasn't my favorite of all, but as soon as I started seeing it grow, there's something about it that feels, well, pretty. So I hope I can have more of this and make like a little succulent forest in a flat pot. And this here is the Melanochrysum. Unfortunately, you know, this is supposed to be after a year growth. You should be expecting much bigger leaves and much better climb. But after a few months after I bought it, I didn't get to repot it immediately. And when I did, it was kind of late. So it grew like pretty leggy. It lost all the leaves that were here, the big leaves, and it went through a melanocrisis. At one point, I wanted to reset it before I mounted another moss pole, and this time it's doing much better. If you can see here, the climbing parts are now starting to root into the pole, which it did not do before. So I'm hopeful that as it starts to continue to climb, we'll have much bigger leaves and a much healthier Melanochrysum. However, there was a top cut that I cut off from this, and it's still alive right now. I'm gonna show you. And here's the top cut Melanochrysum. It's growing pretty slowly, but I think I'm happy that I have another Melanochrysum despite the melanocrisis. So yes, Philodendron Melanochrysum. Again, another anthurium I'm not very proud of.
Shame! Shame! Shame!
One of the Moroccianums, queen anthuriums, struggling to survive. It was doing very well with this leaf at first, and then it produced this leaf, and then when it produced this leaf, the brown spots started happening, and I think it's fungus. Again, I wasn't able to catch up with the fungal treatment. It's pushing another leaf though, so maybe I can still make this work. And the funny thing was, the first growth point actually died. Like, I thought this was a goner, and what I did was like just put this under the chair in the balcony back in the apartment, and it grew from a node. So you can, I don't know if you can see here, it wasn't growing from here anymore. It grew from the side, from the node, and started producing this plant. So I'm hopeful, maybe with the new leaf and maybe with constant fungal treatment, antifungal treatment, this queen will do better. Because I have another queen here and then she's doing better. So maybe I'm not going to fail with queen anthuriums after killing 6 of them. So wishing for the best, right? And from the same store that I bought the succulents, I also bought a Euphorbia japonica, which was this plant. And you can see there's a lot of new pups. And I haven't pulled these out just yet. But I did pull out one pup earlier this year and placed it in a pot. And here it is. Kind of happy with this one. Like, look at that. I'm not sure you can see it, but that's two growth there, and I can actually pull that other one and make it more plants. But right now, my problem with the Euphorbia japonica is this is kind of tall for a pot. In hindsight, I should have used a shallower pot, but it's working for now. I'm waiting for when I have free time, I'll start to repot this into a much better pot. And of course, maybe try to, I won't do this together, maybe try to pull out some of these pups so that they can be their own euphorbia plants. I really like this plant because it really reminds me of a baobab from The Little Prince. So cute plant, loves the sunlight, thrives in direct sunlight. Actually doesn't mind the rain. It's been in the rain so many times, and it's one of those plants that does well anyway. So Euphorbia japonica, for me, it's a success. Now, I'm not gonna show all the plants that came from the Adansonia mint mottled bundle that I got, but I'll show you what it looks like now, at least one of them. This one's the tallest of the three. So I did a sort of a makeshift moss pole, which I kind of regret. I now kind of wish that I started off with a proper moss pole, not one of these DIYs, because I can't do chop and extend. So, but it's very beautiful. And the price has gone down for these kinds of plants. There are those who are selling it for as low as $350 now for a bunch of cuttings. When I bought this was, I think, probably 700 pesos for a bunch of cuttings. So, but that does not change the fact that this is actually a beautiful plant, and I look forward to growing this in a moss pole properly. I'll see what I can do. Maybe I can take it out from the back and probably attach it to a proper moss pole and see if I can continue the growth instead of having to chop it and start all over again. So we'll see. So of all the plants in terms of growth success, I think the most successful of them would be the Monstera acuminata mint mottled. And because it started off already with a single cutting, and I immediately placed it in a proper moss pole and pushed it to climb. And when I did, it produced really nice leaves. So this half of the pole is the original plant. It lost a lot of leaves at the bottom at some point because of those, it burnt out from direct sunlight. And then when I chopped it, the top part already started climbing more, established roots in a moss pole. So I chopped and extend. So I extended this original plant and it's doing well. Look at that. Unfortunately, some parts here burned out, but the top parts are doing well. So I'm kind of hopeful. I'll show you the top cut, the one that I did a chop, which I also then extended because it's doing well. Look at this. I'll go further a bit. Look at that. I'm very happy with this one. But in hindsight, I think this would have been prettier if we had two of these together in one pole so that it doesn't look like it's too empty in between. So a much more lush pole would happen if I put two of these together. So I might do that with the Adansonia mint mottled and see how that works, right? So, acuminata mint mottled. So overall, I bought 22 plants from Horti Filipina, and well, actually I bought 21 and I was given one. And out of the 22 plants, 11 survived. So 50% survival rate, I guess. Learned a lot of lessons, became more interested with variegated plants, and hopefully I will have a much better survival rate after this Horti Filipina 2026 plant haul. The thing is, I admit it had to do a lot with getting busy with work and neglected the plants, and of course the summer that came after. It was during the summer that we killed a lot of the plants. So I'm hoping this year I will be able to maintain the plants that I'm getting, and especially now that I'm in this really nice space that I can do plant keeping much better than before. So wish me luck.